liberation and return to the spiritual world. Then we will be happy. There is no question of perfect happiness or perfect anything in this temporary material world. Perfection is unavailable here. But in the spiritual world, everything and everyone is perfect. So we should transfer our existence there. This is liberation from all material conditions and suffering. Attaining liberation is as simple as changing our consciousness, and changing our consciousness is as simple as changing our ontology. Changing our ontology means, instead of filling our minds with information, desires, and impressions of this material world, to fill it with spiritual information, desires, and impressions. Therefore, the path to liberation begins with hearing from a self-realized soul, and the next step is chanting the holy names of God, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or whatever mantra or name you accept as indicating the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Bhagavad-gita is the gateway to liberation. Even though at the highest level of spiritual realization, one does not desire liberation, that is because at that level, one has already attained liberation. In other words, if I don't have any money, if I'm broke, then I desire money. But if I have $1 million, then I don't care about money anymore. So at the highest level of bhakti, one has no desire or care for liberation. That's because he's already achieved it. We can achieve liberation even in this material world, even in this body, by pure devotional service, which is unmotivated and uninterrupted. And this is pure Kṛṣṇa consciousness or pure spiritual consciousness. At this level, one is actually in a liberated state, even though in this world. So in the beginning of spiritual life, in the beginning of devotional work, one should definitely aim for and desire to attain liberation, mukti. And the Bhagavad-gita is the gate of this mukti. Bhagavad-gita is the Supreme Personality of Godhead advising his friend Arjuna on the morning of this great battle of Kurukshetra. And Arjuna, even though he's an eternal associate of Kṛṣṇa, he is already in a liberated state because he's with Kṛṣṇa every moment. But he's playing the role of a bewildered, confused, materially conditioned spirit soul. And so this is similar to our position. Actually, the spirit soul is never affected by matter. Now, this is a fact. The spirit soul is always transcendental. However, we think that we are affected by matter because we identify with this body and this mind. Our body and mind in this material world is material, and therefore it affects us by association. If we associate ourselves with this body and mind, then we'll be overcome by the different waves of enjoyment and suffering of the material energy. But actually we're meant to live in a liberated condition. And the 4 higher kinds of mukti, sarupya, means we have a form similar to the Lord's form in the spiritual world. The Lord has 4 arms in the Vaikuntha planets. Salokya mukti means that one is actually promoted to the planets of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual world. Sarshti mukti means that we attain spiritual opulence, just like that of the Lord. The Lord has 6 opulences. He has all power, all knowledge, all fame, all beauty, all wealth, and all renunciation. So we can share in these opulences of the Lord, and this is known as Sarshti Mukti. And Samipya Mukti means remaining eternally associated with the Supreme Personality of Godhead in one of his transcendental forms. So we can see that Arjuna actually is already liberated because he's displaying the symptoms of samipya mukti. He is always associated with Kṛṣṇa as a friend. So there are 5 different kinds of associations we can have with the Lord. Association based on neutrality, based on servitorship, based on friendship, parental love, or conjugal love. These 5 kinds of relationships are available in devotional service, and each of us has a relationship with the Lord in one of these 5 modes or flavors of devotional service. This relationship is the basis of our spiritual existence, and therefore it reveals our transcendental perfect body. So the path of devotional service, overall, looking at the overview, is basically to transfer our sense of who we are from this material body, which is a false embodiment, a false identity, false identification of the spirit soul with a piece of meat in the material world, to our real identity, which is in relationship with the Lord in the spiritual planets and sharing in his opulences and his spiritual pastimes. So this process is accomplished by filling the mind with impressions of transcendental existence. And the way that we do that begins with chanting the holy name of the Lord. Now we have given the Dvadasakshara mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Now, there are many other mantras, and each of them has a specific effect, a specific destination that it qualifies us for in the spiritual world. We're giving this particular mantra because this mantra does not accept offenses. The name of the Lord, Vasudev, means his role as a king in the Vrishni dynasty. And in this role, he advises Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra before everyone, both the friends and the enemies. He includes everyone in his care. And he doesn't accept offenses. He doesn't consider, oh, this one is my enemy and this one is my friend. There are other mantras that are more intimate, but those mantras do accept offenses, and therefore puts us in danger if we make any of these offenses. So these are for more advanced students. But in the beginning, anyone can chant the Dvadasakshara mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and make wonderful spiritual advancement. So we urge you to do this and begin to fill your mind with impressions of spiritual life. The other thing that you can do is read Bhagavad-gita as it is. That's available from asitis.com. And you can read it online, or you can buy a hard copy and enjoy it at home. Either way, the whole process is to fill your mind with impressions of transcendental existence and knowledge. In this way, we can overcome the false impression that we are this material body, and we can gradually approach the spiritual world and rediscover our original identity and our perfect spiritual body. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of My Perfect Body. This is David Hughes, your host, reminding you to visit us on the web at esotericteaching.org, where you can purchase the complete Esoteric Teaching Introductory Seminar DVD and many CDs of transcendental music and mantras.